Ladies and gentlemen, in this kick-ass McKenzie friend family court tutorial, I will be explaining all about Cafcass and what I know from my experience. And as a brilliant twist to explain why, because of Cafcass, having a family lawyer is completely pointless. And if you are daft enough to be self-funding a family lawyer, well, it's time to ditch them. This is going to be amazing. I am Philip Kedge, a retired police chief inspector, the director of the McKenzie Friend UK network, the founder of the national campaign of #LikeNotHate and fearless family court vlogger. I have been a McKenzie Friend in the family courts for over a decade. Nothing I say constitutes legal advice because you don't need legal advice and you don't need lawyers. I provide guidance and support as a layperson. All my views and opinions are entirely my own. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let's do it. Cafcass was formed in 2001. It calls itself a non-departmental public body sponsored by the Ministry of Justice, and the term Cafcass stands for Children and Family Court Advisory and Support Service. And the clue to what they do is in the title. They are advisors to the family court. So that's the boring bit over. Let's get into the nuts and bolts. After making an application to the family court for child arrangements, there may be around 5 points of contact between you and a Cafcass family court advisor. Firstly, after the application has been submitted and before the first hearing, Cafcass will conduct a safeguarding phone call. This is where Cafcass obtains some initial information, and the main purpose is to ensure that the children are safe and well with at least one of the parents, what the disagreements are between the parties, and any domestic abuse and safeguarding issues. Expect a call to last for up to an hour. After the safeguarding phone call, the Cafcass officer will produce a safeguarding letter to the court, and both parents will receive a copy. Now remember, nothing that you say to Cafcass is confidential. Anything you state can be written down and shared with the court and the other side. Now, are you recording your Cafcass interviews? Take a look at this essentially important vlog. Can I record Cafcass interviews? The definitive answer revealed. Secondly, where is your pointless family lawyer when you speak to Cafcass? Oh, nowhere, because Cafcass won't allow lawyers to be present. However, you can have a McKenzie Friend present from the McKenzie Friend UK network, because Cafcass cannot insist that a service user attends any interview or interaction with Cafcass alone. You may have a friend present to support you, to take notes and to offer advice. The next point of contact with Cafcass is at the first hearing dispute resolution appointment, where Cafcass may be present but not always. They are there to help the court to determine how to move forward, and there are generally 3 pathways. That they recommend that the court should consider the need for a fact-finding hearing under Practice Directions 12J due to allegations of harm or domestic abuse. Secondly, that there's no requirement for a fact-finding, but it would be beneficial for Cafcass to do a Section 7 report. And thirdly, where there is no need for the continued involvement of Cafcass. Now, at this hearing, your lawyer, who is potentially fleecing you out of thousands of pounds in completely unnecessary fees, doesn't even get an opportunity to cross-examine or talk to Cafcass. In relation to their recommendations, the Cafcass officer is simply there to advise the court. You and your ex are in real terms along for the ride. You can save thousands of pounds by having a McKenzie Friend with you in court, either in person or remotely if it's a remote hearing. The next point of contact may be if the Cafcass officer is required to do a Section 7 report. The family court advisor may seek out the wishes and feelings of the children, are likely to speak to both parents, may even observe a contact between a parent and a child. They will then produce a report to the court with their recommendations of what should happen next. Once again, the family court advisor won't speak to your utterly pointless family lawyer. However, at every interaction, they can't prevent you from having a McKenzie Friend present to take notes, provide support and to quietly give advice. That's why McKenzie Friends from the McKenzie Friends UK network are so beneficial, cost effective and quite frankly brilliant. The fourth interaction with Cafcass is when the Cafcass officer may be required to attend the next hearing, which is the dispute resolution appointment. The purpose of this hearing is in general terms to understand the position of each of the parties with respect to the Cafcass Section 7 report and recommendations. In broad terms, three things can happen at the dispute resolution appointment. Firstly, the parents agree and matters can be finalised with a consent order. Secondly, there can be agreements on some matters but not others and an opportunity to narrow down the issues. Perhaps only a few issues remain that need to be resolved, which could happen at a pared down final hearing. Or one or both parties are still at war, can't see the wood for the trees, and nothing can be resolved and we head towards a full-blown final hearing. Now, you will spot a pattern emerging here. If you are daft enough to be paying for a family lawyer, your lawyer cannot even question the Cafcass officer at this point. Your lawyer can't change anything. They are completely pointless. In fact, they just tell the court what you are more than capable of telling the court yourself. By having a lawyer, you give up your rights to speak for yourself. How stupid is that? The last point of potential engagement with Cafcass is at the final hearing, where you get the chance to question Cafcass on their Section 7 reports if you wish to do so. That's not difficult. You have all the time you need to prepare your questions. There is absolutely no advantage in paying often thousands of pounds for a lawyer to do it. And the reason why is simple. The questions and issues are not complicated. The disputes are human issues based on people not agreeing. They are not legal issues. The Cafcass officer will present their report and evidence based on the child welfare checklist. And under cross-examination, they will simply explain their recommendations and how they came to their conclusions. Use your own voice, empower yourself and put your own questions to Cafcass. It's not difficult, and have a McKenzie friend to help you prepare and to sit next to you quietly giving you advice. Now, if your position is already reasonable, appropriate and child focused, then you may not even need to ask any questions of Cafcass, because hopefully you'll be on the same page and it is your ex who is the one still fighting. The court will make its final order based on applying the child welfare checklist and based on balance of probability of what is in the best interests of the child. The family court advisor is an expert and their recommendations will carry significant weight in relation to that standard of balance of probability, which is why in the vast majority of cases the court will follow the general recommendations of Cafcass anyway, making the notion of final hearings in many cases a pretty pointless exercise. From my experience, your lawyer simply turns it into one big theatrical and pointless show whilst taking thousands of pounds off you to watch the performance, while sitting behind them, silenced and disempowered. Now, as McKenzie friends, we get to actually sit next to you and can talk to you, quietly advising you on every aspect of the proceedings. Now, that is worth its weight in gold. So that's it, folks. Cafcass and the family court explained in general, straightforward terms. Now, there are two essential vlogs for you to watch right now. Firstly, how to challenge Cafcass and hold them to account. Secondly, can I record Cafcass interviews? The definitive answer revealed. To watch these vlogs, go to contactphil.co.uk and click on the link to Phil's vlogs. Please also visit my website for your one-stop solutions approach to all of your family court needs. And lastly, remember, you don't need family lawyers who all too often stir the pot of acrimony for their financial gain, engaging thousands of pounds of totally unnecessary work, leave people in crippling financial debt, and have absolutely no duty of care to any child. How disgraceful is that? Until next time, I'm Phil Kedge, the kick-ass McKenzie friend.